When storms hit a city, they do it without warning. Fast, loud, and unforgiving. Streets become rivers, homes become islands, and people become vulnerable in an instant. But every storm brings out something else, too. Someone willing to step into the water, into the danger, for someone smaller than themselves. This is the story of Officer Mateo Ruiz and the tiny life he refused to leave behind. The rain had fallen for hours, heavier than anything the city had seen in years. Officer Ruiz, on night patrol, watched as drains overflowed and water climbed the curbs. He had already redirected traffic, helped an elderly couple get their car to higher ground, and called in reinforcements. But then, through the static of his radio, came the report that changed everything. Residents report barking, coming from a storm drain on 3rd and Willow, possible animal trapped. Mateo paused. He knew that drain. It fed straight into the canal now overflowing like a broken dam. If whatever was down there slipped through the bars, it wouldn't survive. He arrived at the corner of 3rd and Willow, sirens reflecting off the floodwater. It was dark, quiet, except for the roar of water rushing under the street. Then he heard it, a cry, tiny, high-pitched, panicked, not barking, whimpering. And it was coming from beneath the metal grate. Mateo dropped to his knees, rain saturating his uniform instantly. He shone his flashlight through the drain bars and saw 2 terrified eyes staring back up at him. A puppy, no more than a few months old, trapped in the rising water. Mateo radioed in. "I've got a live animal in the storm drain. Water rising fast. I need backup and tools, now." But dispatch answered. "All units tied up. Flood rescues citywide. You're on your own for at least 20 minutes. The drain would be full in 5. There was no choice. Mateo wedged his fingers under the storm grate, but the metal was bolted, heavy, unmovable. The water beneath surged upward, splashing the puppy's chest. It cried again. Mateo's heartbeat quickened. He stood, looked around, spotted a fallen street sign, thick and metal. He jammed it into the frame of the grate, pushed with everything he had. The metal groaned, shifted, then, with a sound like a thunder crack, popped free enough for him to lift. Heavy water burst upward as if finally freed. Beneath the surface, the puppy scrambled backward, trying to stay above the rising current. Mateo lowered himself into the drain, waist-deep, then chest-deep, water freezing, swirling hard enough to pull him sideways. He braced against the concrete walls, held on. The puppy clung to a slippery ledge, paws shaking. Mateo reached forward, voice calm despite the roaring storm. "Hey, buddy. It's okay. I've got you. Come here." The puppy took half a step, slipped, and the current swept it toward the dark opening at the back of the drain. Mateo lunged. His fingertips touched fur, slipped, then grabbed again, harder this time, catching the pup by the scruff before it vanished into the black water. He held it to his chest, gripping the wall with one hand, the puppy with the other. The storm howled above them. The water kept rising. Mateo climbed the slippery ladder with slow, deliberate movements, the puppy tucked under his jacket to shield it from the cold rain. His boots slipped twice, once so badly he lost his grip for a second, but he recovered, gasping, tightening his hold on the tiny life pressed against his chest. When he reached the street level, he shoved the puppy through the opening first, then hauled himself up, collapsing onto the pavement. Rain hammered his face, breath trembling, uniform soaked, arms burning. The puppy lay on his jacket, shivering, looking up at him as if it understood exactly what he'd done. At last, an emergency vehicle arrived, not for him, but to respond to a flooding basement nearby. The EMT jumped out, saw him kneeling beside the puppy, and rushed over. "Is it hurt?" Matteo shook his head. "Just cold, scared, needs warmth." The EMT wrapped the little dog in a foil blanket, gently drying its face. The puppy's tail twitched, just once, a tiny spark of life returning. With power outages citywide and shelters overwhelmed, Matteo knew the puppy had nowhere to go. So he took temporary custody until the storm passed. Back at the station, he dried the pup, fed it, wrapped it in a towel, and set it beside him while finishing paperwork for the night. At one point, it crawled onto his lap, curled into a tiny ball, and fell asleep. Matteo looked down at it, this tiny survivor who had fought so hard for breath, for warmth, for life, and whispered, "You made it. You're safe now." By morning, the storm had passed. Sunlight returned, floodwaters receded, and the little pup, now bright-eyed and warm, trotted after Matteo everywhere he went. The city would recover. Homes would be repaired, roads rebuilt. But 2 lives had been changed forever that night. Sometimes, the smallest rescues are the ones that leave the biggest mark. Sometimes heroes don't just save a life, they gain a friend. If you'd like more rescues like this one, please like and subscribe. New stories are waiting for you each week. There's a full collection of rescue stories on our playlist waiting for you.